Okay, so we've had 12 races down, 2 to go, and we are once again at Valencia on the east coast of Spain, lying on the Mediterranean Sea. The double-header, the second half of the double-header here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit here on race day in Valencia. Can Joan Mir become the 2020 Motogp World Champion? So, yeah, back-to-back races at the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia. 4 kilometre circuit with 9 left turns, 5 right turns, with the top speed being 337 kilometres per hour. And the best race lap was a 1 minute 31 by Marc Marquez. Overtaking hotspots are favourites, including the last turn, turn 14, Adrian Campos, where Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa, 2 Spanish legends, have had some great battles in the past. Meanwhile, on the 2020 grid, it is the Petronas Yamaha rider, the Italian Franco Morbidelli, who starts on pole position. Jack Miller will want to be the 10th winner of 2020, and the Aussie, well, he starts second on the grid. Can he do it today? And the man from Japan is back on the front row, Takaaki Nakagami. Can he impress today on the LCR Honda? And as for Joan Mir, he simply needs to become world champion today. Nakagami third, Jack Miller second, and on pole position, number 21 from Italy, Franco Morbidelli. So, this is the second time we are in Valencia for this year. Usually, Valencia is the last round of the MotoGP World Championship, but obviously, due to coronavirus, that has kind of changed. And yeah, it's very sunny once again on the east coast of Spain, like what it usually is at Valencia anyway, especially with the MotoGP riders race. There's a few races I've seen in the past that I've had a wet race in 2012. That I've had a wet race before here in Valencia. Think of 2012 as one example, when Dani Pedrosa won in the wet while Jorge Lorenzo crashed out and Casey Stoner had his last Grand Prix of his career by finishing third on the Repsol Honda. It's going to be an exciting and fascinating race. Franco Morbidelli is just about the bookies' favourite for today, and he starts on pole position. He will hope for it to all go his way, but as will the man on the Suzuki. The biggest day of Joan Mir's career, the number 36 Suzuki. He hasn't had the best of qualifyings. Mir is on the 4th row of the grid, so it ain't going to be an easy day for him if he wants to become world champion. Suzuki, his team Suzuki, on the other hand, Suzuki is simply just trying to go for the Riders' World title, the Constructors' World title, and the Team's World title. They're going for the Triple Crown. And Mir has got the best chance of them all now due to Fabio Quartararo's crash last time out in the first race at Valencia of this doubleheader. But we're looking at the man who's 5th in the championship, the man on pole position, Franco Morbidelli. He has been on devastating form recently, and he will be hoping to be up there for the victory today. He's not going to... I don't think he's going to win the World Championship. I don't think Morbidelli's not going to win the World Championship, but he will want to prove a point today. The only way I guess he can become champion was if Joan Mir crashed in Valencia today and at Portimao. But for me, it's between Joan Mir, his teammate Alex Rins, and this man here, the teammate of Franco Morbidelli, the man who crashed in the first race of Valencia, Fabio Quartararo. second in the championship on 125 points, level with the Suzuki rider of Alex Rins. And the only way Quartararo now can win the World Championship is if he wins these last 2 races of the season and Joan Mir has 2 terrible races. That's for sure. That's the best way for Quartararo and for Mir's teammate Alex Rins. Joan Mir simply needs to beat them both to become world champion. So, realistically, Quartararo's crash from last time out in Valencia has given Joan Mir the biggest opportunity of his life and in his career. Here's Alex Rins. He's third in the championship after coming second in Valencia last week. And he's level on points, like I said, with Fabio Quartararo. He's also been on devastating form. He won in Aragon and then came second in the second part of Aragon. And also he came second in the first part of Valencia, but couldn't quite beat Joan Mir. So he has been on devastating form. Here is Takaaki Nakagami, the man who's 8th in the World Championship at the moment, and he is once again on the front row. He will be looking to be up there with the front guys, unlike when he was on pole position in Aragon when he crashed out. Here's Jack Miller. He is 9th. Jack Miller is 9th. Yeah, it was at the Tyrrell, the second part of Aragon, when Takaaki Nakagami crashed from pole position and on the first lap. We've just seen Jack Miller there. Jack Miller will really want to prove a point today. His championship dreams were totally crushed during the season by a few run of crashes when he was running so well. And he was honestly one of my favourites to win the world title. He's moving to Ducati next year, replacing Andrea Dovizioso, which has just been confirmed. Dovizioso is taking a sabbatical for 2021. But Jack Miller has, like I said, he's had a couple of missed opportunities and not his own fault. But I think he will be bounced back next year when he's on that factory Ducati, because both him and Paco Bagnaia are moving to that factory Ducati team next year, replacing Dovizioso and Petrucci. This is the Yamaha rider, the factory Yamaha rider of Maverick Vinales. He is 4th in the World Championship on 121 points. I wonder how he's going to do today. Meanwhile, here's the former Tech3 Yamaha rider, Johan Zarco, on the Ducati, Satellite Ducati, 13th in the championship on 71 points. And here is the man who started on pole last time out, Paul Espargaro, 7th in the championship on the KTM with 106 points. I wonder how he's going to do today as well. He's got 2 last races now at that KTM team. He's moving to Repsol Honda next year alongside Marc Marquez, and he'll be taking Alex Marquez's spot, who will be going down to LCR Honda, replacing Cal Crutchlow. As we look back at Joan Mir, the man who's about to win the world title and has the opportunity to take the world title from this man who has been injured all season, Marc Marquez. And Marc Marquez will now be the former world champion, not the current world champion. And he will be back next year. Marc Marquez confirmed that he will be back in 2021. Speaking of the Marquezes, here's his brother, who lies 14th in the championship on 67 points, Alex Marquez. He had a huge high side during practice. But he's been declared fit to race. And he will just want to race the best he can today, Alex Marquez. Here's number 33, the man from South Africa, Brad Binder, the teammate of Paul Espargaro at KTM. He starts 9th on the grid. Could he repeat his heroics when he took that stunning victory at Brno? Here is Pecco Bagnaia. He is 16th in the table. Could he also repeat his heroics from when he won at at Misano. No, sorry, sorry. It wasn't a race win. My bad. My apologies. But he was still in stunning form. Sorry, no, he came second. Of course, my bad. He he will want to try and use though the form that he had at Misano earlier in the season, as we see our championship leader come out of his Suzuki pits, Joan Mir. Here is the doctor, Valentino Rossi. There has been a lot of talk on him at the moment. He's 15th in the championship, 58 points. He got tested positive for coronavirus once again, but Yamaha have confirmed that he will be racing today. He was declared fit to race here today in the second part of Valencia. Despite that, he was tested positive for COVID-19 once again. As we're on board with Fabio Quartararo, who's about to head into the first turn. As we now look at Alex Rins, he is about to come out of his Suzuki pit box as well. Him and Quartararo are probably the two riders now who can stop Joan Mir winning the world title. As we see Alex Rins go off once again. We've just seen Andrea Dovizioso about to come on. Here he is. Here is Desmo Dovi, number 4 on the Ducati. He will be taking a sabbatical in 2021. And the paddock are really going to miss him. Let's hope Dovi will be back in the paddock for 2022 and beyond. Another man who's taken a sabbatical is the man who's just in front of him there on the sighting lap, Cal Crutchlow. Cal Crutchlow will be Yamaha's test rider next year, and as his spot at LCR Honda, as I said, has been taken by Alex Marquez, who will go alongside Takaaki Nakagami. Valentino Rossi will be starting 16th on the grid on the 6th row. He's got a lot of work to do today if he wants to be up there with the top guys. So there we have the penultimate tyre choices of the season for the 9 left corners and the 5 right corners. Everyone is going for the Sammetric medium rear tyre. Jack Miller is going for a medium front tyre. As we have a look at our virtual fan wall, once again at the Adrian Campos turn 14, last corner of the track. Loads of fans across the world all coming to watch on the virtual fan wall their favourite MotoGP riders. Jack Miller starts second on the grid, like I said. Pecco Bagnaia, his teammate, starts 8th on the grid, as we have a look at Joan Mir, who is on the 4th row. So, this hopes to be an exciting race here at Valencia. As we have a look at our pole sitter, Franco Morbidelli. 2 wins, 3 podiums, 2 poles. He is an academy graduate of Valentino Rossi's, and he will be Valentino Rossi's teammate next year, as the doctor will move from the factory Yamaha team to the Petronas Sepang International Racing Team with Franco Morbidelli, as Fabio Quartararo will move up to the factory Yamaha team. Jack Miller moves up to the factory Ducati team next year, leaving the Pramac Danti Ducati team, and he starts second on the grid and will be one of the favourites surely for today's race. As will this man, the man from Japan, Takaaki Nakagami, on Lucio Cecchinello's Honda. He's never had a victory, never had a podium. Could he do it today? He was on pole, like I said, at that race at Aragon, at the Tyrrell race of Aragon, the second race of Aragon, was leading the way, but crashed out on the first lap. He will not want to repeat that today. That's for sure. This is one of the KTM riders. as just been confirmed, yeah, Fabio Quartararo will be starting 11th on the grid. He's also on the 4th row with Joan Mir. They're right next to each other on that 4th row. As we had a look at one of the KTM riders there, I think it was Pol Espargaro, as we have a double check of the starting grid. So it's Morbidelli, Miller and Nakagami on the front row. Zarco, Pol Espargaro and Maverick Vinales are on the 2nd row. Row 3, Aleix Espargaro, Paco Bagnaia and Brad Binder. Watch out for Binder on the KTM. Row 4 is Miguel Oliveira, the man from Portugal, number 88 on the Tech 3 KTM, alongside Quartararo and Joan Mir. Mir is 12th, Quartararo is 11th, while Alex Rins is on the 5th row, 14th on the grid, behind Cal Crutchlow, just in front of him, and just ahead of Danilo Petrucci, who's 15th. The two experienced riders, the two experienced Italians, Valentino Rossi and Andrea Dovizioso, are on the 6th row in 16th and 17th, with Marc Marquez's replacement for this season, Stefan Bradl, the German, 18th on the grid. And the last row, on row 7, Tito Rabat, Alex Marquez and Lorenzo Savadori on the Aprilia. There is Carmelo Espeleta. He is hoping that he will get this 2020 season over. It's been a very long but short 2020, as we all know. Would have had the traditional calendar, but thanks to coronavirus, most of the races got cancelled, such as Qatar, Sachsenring, Mugello. And then Mugello was ended up on Formula 1 instead, as we have a look at an aerial shot of Valencia, Spain's 3rd largest city behind Madrid and Barcelona. This hopes to be another exciting race, just like the one we had before. But the only difference being was that once from last week's race was that once Joan Mir overtook Alex Rins, he was never headed from there, and Mir went on to win and take his first Grand Prix victory of his career. As we had a look at Aleix Espargaro then, who is on the 3rd row of the grid. This is Jack Miller. No, sorry, Pecco Bagnaia. He's 8th on the grid, just right next to Aleix Espargaro. He is, like I said, he has had a podium before. He was 2nd in Misano. He's never had a race victory, but he was close. He has been close because he was absolutely brilliant at Misano, but he has never won a victory. This man, though, has won a victory. Miguel Oliveira, the man who starts 10th on the grid. He won at Styria back at round 5, the 2nd race of the Red Bull Ring track in Austria. Pol Espargaro was on pole then as well, but couldn't beat the satellite KTM of Miguel Oliveira, the man from Portugal. As we once again have a look at our championship leader, Joan Mir. But now we're looking at his teammate, Alex Rins, who's on the 5th row of the grid. 14th. He's had 3 wins in his career. He has had, he won at Texas in 2019, his first victory of the Premier class after Marc Marquez's crash. Then at Silverstone, he had that epic battle with Marc Marquez and took victory right on the line. And of course, this year, in the first race at Aragon, he took his 3rd victory of his Motogp career and his first victory of 2020. Could he come up all the way from that 5th row and get his 2nd victory of the season, or his 4th victory of his career in the Premier class? Maverick Vinales is 6th on the grid on the edge of the 2nd row. He's had 8 victories, 26 podiums and 12 pole positions. Maverick's last victory, of course, was the Emiliano Romagna Rimini Misano race, the 2nd race of Misano, where he rode beautifully. Here is the penultimate. Here is as it stands, the penultimate race of Cal Crutchlow's career as it stands. He will be Yamaha's official test rider next season, and Cal. Well, it's been a difficult season for the Brit. He's been injury-stricken all season, but he will want to have a great race today and get a couple of points. Well, a wide range of points, I mean. But it is indeed the biggest day of the number 36's career. Joan Mir, his first victory of his career in the Premier Class, last time out in the European Grand Prix at Valencia. Could it be his second today? Could he carve through the field from that fourth row of the grid? His title rival, Fabio Quartararo, is alongside him on that fourth row of the grid. It's a big day for both of those riders. It's a more difficult day, though, as I said, for Alex Rins, as he is on that fifth row in 14th, just behind Fabio Quartararo on the starting grid. In terms of that, Quartararo is starting right in front, ahead of Alex Rins, as we have another look at the city of Valencia. Here is Alex Marquez. Obviously had a horrendous crash this weekend before today, like I said, but he was declared fit to race, and Alex Marquez indeed will be racing from the back of the grid. It'd be an incredible race for Alex Marquez if he carved his way through the field and get a couple of points after having that huge crash. Here's Brad Binder, 9th on the grid on the KTM, the South African, teammate to Pol Espargaro. Unlike Pol Espargaro, Brad Binder will be staying in the KTM team. He will be joining. He'll be joined by Miguel Oliveira, who will be moving up to the factory KTM team, as Iker Lecuona will be joining. Iker Lecuona and Danilo Petrucci will be in that Tech3 team next season. Of course, Iker Lecuona is there this season, but obviously he has been injured. He has been injured. He was going to race today, but he withdrew from the event. Valentino Rossi starts 16th on the grid. This is his penultimate race with the factory Yamaha team, the team that he has been with since 2004, for making that move that shocked the whole of the MotoGP paddock, moving from Repsol Honda to the factory Yamaha team after 2003. Everyone thought it was a career mistake, but it turned out to be the best decision in the doctor's career, and was at Yamaha from 2004 all the way to 2010 with the emergence of Jorge Lorenzo. Rossi then went to Ducati for 2 seasons, those 2 stricken years at Ducati that he'll want to forget, and then came back to Yamaha in 2013, once again alongside Lorenzo, and he's been at the factory Yamaha team ever since, and he will be leaving the factory Yamaha team after this season. This is his penultimate race with the factory Yamaha team. There's Stefan Bradl on the Repsol Honda. 2 races to go for him to replace Marc Marquez on that Repsol Honda bike. And I don't know what's going to happen to Bradl next season, but Marc Marquez will definitely be back in 2021 on that Repsol Honda. And he will want to be a title contender once again, to battle with who could be our new world champion, Joan Mir, or another one of our could-be world champions, Fabio Quartararo, as we just had a look at Andrea Dovizioso, who starts 17th on the grid. Dovi is taking a sabbatical for next season, and he will be surely missed. Will he be back? Hopefully he will, but we will see. There is a very determined Joan Mir. And there is El Diablo, the man from France, Fabio Quartararo. He lines up 11th on the grid, right next to Joan Mir. And the simple task for El Diablo today is to win the race, or at least finish ahead of Joan Mir, And Joan Mir has a terrible race today, because it ain't going to be easy for Mir from 12th on the grid. The Suzuki team haven't qualified the best. Mir is 12th, Rids is 14th. They could carve their way through the field, because Suzuki have been, as it stands, the best team of this season. There is Danilo Petrucci, 15th on the grid, on the edge of the 5th row. The number 9, Petrux, also bowing out of that factory Ducati team, and will be joining the Tech Trois KTM team next season alongside Iker Lekawuna, taking the place of Miguel Oliveira. And there are the 3 main title candidates. Quartararo 11th, Mir 12th, and Alex Rins 14th. All right next to each other, virtually right next to each other on this starting grid. But there is the man on pole, Franco Morbidelli, who will be wanting to win the race today. He will not win the World Championship this season. Neither will Andrea Dovizioso. Neither will Maverick Vinales. So I guess the aim for Morbidelli now is to simply finish 2nd or 3rd in this World Championship. But it won't be easy for him to finish ahead of his teammate, who is obviously still going for the title, Fabio Quartararo. As we all know, last week's European race here at Valencia was a huge blow for El Diablo's title chances. But he could honestly redeem and revitalise himself today by carving through the field and finishing ahead of Joan Mir and Alex Rins. And he will be praying that the Suzuki team have a terrible, terrible race today, as we see the sun shining brightly here at Valencia. It ain't going to be easy, though, for Quartararo from 11th on the grid to catch up and race with his teammate, this man here, Morbidelli, who starts on pole. He's gone for a hard front and a medium rear. Quartararo has gone for a medium front and a medium rear. So obviously one of the tyre choices is going to work for one of those Petronas Yamaha riders, and the other won't work as well. But again, just depends on the track surface and the conditions here today. Here, the scorching conditions here today in Valencia. But they are the 3 men to watch today. The 3 main men to watch today are really Fabio Quartararo, Alex Rins, and the championship leader himself, Joan Mir. There is the eyes of the number 42 Bakery, Alex Rins. He's gone for hard front and medium rear, Alex Rins has. And that actually turns out to be the preferred combination of the majority of the Motogp riders today. Of course, if Mir wins the World Championship today, he will be the first world champion for Suzuki in this 21st century, and ever since 2000. The first world champion in this 21st century, but the second Suzuki world champion since 2000, because obviously the last world champion for Suzuki was in 2000, and that was Kenny Roberts Jr. 20 years ago, where he won the World Championship for Suzuki after Alex Crivier's disastrous season in 2000, after being World Champion himself in 1999 on the Repsol Honda. And 2000 was the year Valentino Rossi made his Premier Class debut. And they were back racing 500s back then. And the Doctor had a very good first season in 2000, second in the championship. And then the rest of his career was obviously history. Here is Tito Rabat, 19th on the grid. He is on the back row of the grid, 7th on the 7th row of the grid, alongside Alex Marquez. Alongside Alex Marquez, who's 20th on the grid, and then the Aprilia rider on the Grassini bike, Lorenzo Savadori, who's 21st on the grid, as we have a look at the man who really needs something magic today to keep his championship alive, Fabio Quartararo, the man from France, El Diablo. The safety car, the BMW safety car goes out. It's 5 minutes to the Valencia Grand Prix, to the Valencia GP's start. There's been a late tyre change from Fabio Quartararo just then, from a hard front to a medium front. And it turns out, and yeah, every single rider is on the medium rear slick. As we have a look at the determined Franco Morbidelli, who starts on pole. I'd say the race will be between the two men on the front row, Miller and Morbidelli, but do watch out for the three title candidates in the middle of the grid, Mir, Quartararo and Rins, as there goes through the Suzuki manager, Davide Brivio. He has been superb this season, like has the rest of the Suzuki team. And Suzuki have been superb ever since they came back to MotoGP in 2015 after a 3-year hiatus, leaving the paddock in 2011 with that satellite rider of Alvaro Bautista on that factory Rizzler Suzuki. As we once again check our front row, Takaaki Nakagami, Jack Miller, and the man on pole position, the man who was Valentino Rossi's academy graduate, Franco Morbidelli, on the Petronas Yamaha, number 21. Will Joan Mir win the World Championship today? We are about to find out in 27 laps. And there is your starting grid. I repeat, Morbidelli, Miller and Nakagami on the front row. Second row, Zarco, Paul Espargaro and Maverick Vinales. Row 3, Aleix Espargaro, Paco Bagnaia and Brad Binder. Then we got Miguel Oliveira, Fabio Quartararo and Joan Mir on row 4. Cal Crutchlow, Alex Rins and Danilo Petrucci on row 5. With Valentino Rossi, Andrea Dovizioso and Stefan Bradl on row 6. And right at the back on the 7th row, Tito Rabat, Alex Marquez and Lorenzo Savadori. But it's very simple today. Joan Mir simply needs to beat Fabio Quartararo and Alex Rins, his teammates, to become world champion and carve his way through from 12th on the grid to join the men that are starting on this front row to battle for the lead. Morbidelli, Miller, Nakagami. On board with Fabio Quartararo as we have a look at his live heart rate. So yeah, Fabio Quartararo keeps title hopes alive if he gets 12 points more than Joan Mir. That's the only way Fabio Quartararo can keep his championship hopes alive, and hoping that this MotoGP season will go down to the final race of the season in the Algarve at Portimao in Portugal in 7 days' time. Franco Morbidelli is also in the title hunt. He keeps title hopes alive if he gets 20 points more than Joan Mir. So just like Quartararo, the whole Petronas Yamaha team will be hoping for Suzuki to have such a bad day today, especially number 36, Joan Mir. Don't discount, though, some of the KTM threats, as we just had a look at Miguel Oliveira just then. He could have another great race. Remember his victory at Styria, Miguel Oliveira. He could have a great race today if he really proves himself from that third row of the grid. On board with the number 42 bakery, Alex Rins, as he's in the middle of that warm-up lap group. As we now have a look at Paul Espargaro, the man who started on pole last week in the first half of the doubleheader here at Valencia. And now, once again, the guys come up to the Adrian Campos last corner. So here we are. Mir, 162 points. Mir is on 162 points. And Joan Mir, he's champion if hang on. So there we go. Yeah, that's where we find it. So Joan Mir is on 162 points. Alex Rins 125 with Quartararo. Vinales 121. Morbidelli and Dovizioso 117. I don't think Vinales or Dovi are going to win it at all. As for Joan Mir, he is champion if he loses less than 12 points to both Quartararo and Alex Rins. 16 points to Vinales and 20 points to both Morbidelli and Dovizioso. If he can better all that, then Joan Mir will be the 2020 Motogp World Champion. As Davide Brivio, his manager, looks so nervous. The red lights are about to go out for the penultimate lap here at Valencia, and we are underway! Morbidelli got a great start. Miller also got a fantastic start. Miller's taken the lead. Miller has taken the lead and has got ahead of Morbidelli. One of the KTMs is also up there, but Miller's gone wide already at the first corner, which means Morbidelli does now lead this race. And that's someone else has gone wide. I think it was Quartararo. Already an early disaster for Fabio Quartararo. He's gone right wide there, and he is dead last. There is Joan Mir. Joan Mir is in 11th, so he hasn't had the best of starts, but he has gained at least one position. But Fabio Quartararo's championship is surely ended now, because he has just gone so wide there and is now last place. Disaster for Fabio Quartararo, but his teammate Franco Morbidelli leads this race as Joan Mir sits up on Maverick Vinales and Mir goes up to 10th. He's going to gain 6 points. Disaster for Quartararo, although Quartararo has picked up 2 positions already. He's already passed Savadori and Rabat. Morbidelli leads then from Jack Miller second. Paul Espargaro got a great start. He's in third. He's ahead of Nakagami, who didn't have the best of starts. Oliveira got a great start. Oliveira's in 5th. Zarco 6th. Aleix Espargaro 7th. Alex Rins. What a start from Alex Rins. He started 14th on the grid and he's in 8th. He's ahead of Brad Binder, who didn't have the best of starts. He's 9th. And Joan Mir is 10th. Ahead of Bagnaia, Dovizioso, and then the 2 factory Yamahas, Vinales and Rossi, 13th and 14th. Joan Mir completes his first lap and he is 10th. He is 10th in this race so far. And that, as it stands, is fine because of Quartararo's off-track excursion on the first lap. So, as it stands, Joan Mir will be world champion. There is Quartararo. He's just got past Stefan Bradl. And Quartararo is now 18th place as Brad Binder goes through on Aleix Espargaro, and the KTM rider from South Africa is up to 8th, just behind one of the title candidates, Alex Rins. It's a great start for Rins. He is 7th, and he's already chasing Johan Zarco, and I think he's going to go past Johan Zarco. It's been a great start for Rins, and Mir will not want Rins to get away and get up towards the pack and towards the front runners where Morbidelli and Jack Miller are. Let's have a look at Fabio Quartararo once again. So Jack Miller went wide at the start. Crutchlow and Rossi also went wide. Quartararo was ahead of Mir, was alongside Vinales, his future teammate, but had nowhere to go and went wide at turn 2 and had to sit up. As his teammate Franco Morbidelli still leads with 25 laps to go. Jack Miller 2nd, Espargaro 3rd, Paul Espargaro, 3rd, Nakagami 4th, Oliveira 5th, Zarco in 6th. That is your top 6 at the moment. But Alex Rins is all over the back of Johan Zarco. Jack Miller has set the fastest lap of the race, a 131.728 for Jack Miller. Can he get past Franco Morbidelli, our early race leader so far? In a minute, I mean. So, as we have a look at Zarco, who is under pressure from Rins. But Rins is also coming under pressure from Binder. Binder is trying to stay with those two as well. Morbidelli still leads this race. Joan Mir is still in 10th place. Alex Rins is 7th. Quartararo is down in 17th. He has got past Danilo Petrucci, so he is making his way up towards the field. Well, Miller and Morbidelli. Well, Miller got the start he wanted. He was ahead of Morbidelli at the start, but he went far too wide, pushed too hard, and went wide at the first corner, and could not, and lost that lead straight away to pole sitter Morbidelli. As they all go through Adrian Campos corner, the last corner of the circuit. Joan Mir has just been given the information he needs. He's 10th in this race at the moment, and he's been informed that Pecco Bagnaia is just behind him in 11th. As we see, someone else has gone wide there. I think that was, it was Bagnaia. Bagnaia went so wide there, trying to stay with championship leader Joan Mir. And now Dovizioso is up to 11th, ahead of the two factory Yamahas, Viñales and Rossi. Maverick Viñales had an absolute shocker. He was on the second row of the grid, 6th on the grid, and he's down in 12th. Disastrous start for Maverick Viñales for Top Gun. And once again, despite the fact that Quartararo went wide, once again, the satellite Petronas Yamahas are looking much better than the factory Yamahas. And Morbidelli is doing a brilliant job leading this race at the moment. But Jack Miller will want to give him a hard time, the Australian. The man moving to the factory Ducati team next season. Third is number 44, Paul Espargaro, chasing number 43, Jack Miller. The man who will obviously be joining Marc Marquez next season at Repsol Honda. Fourth is Nakagami, and fifth is Oliveira, who is trying to stay with Nakagami. And there is Zarco 6th with Rins in 7th. We are on board with Quartararo, who just goes past Alex Marquez. And Quartararo is up to 16th. If he gets past Cal Crutchlow, who lies in 15th, then El Diablo will be in the points. Only 1 point, but still in the points. But he is past Alex Marquez, who is having a very, very brave ride in 17th at the moment, because he had a massive crash this weekend, but obviously was declared fit to race today here at Valencia. So it is a brave, brave ride from Alex Marquez, even though he's in 17th and just been overtaken by Quartararo. This is on board with Joan Mir, having a look at Maverick Viñales right in front of him. Replay on turn 2 as Quartararo went far too fast. Tried to get past Mir and tried to go round the outside of Viñales, but went too wide and pushed too hard. To be fair to Quartararo, though, he was trying to avoid some sort of crash. That would have happened at turn 2, which didn't. There is Alex Rins. He is 7th. Behind Zarco. Still cannot find a way past Johan Zarco. But there's still 23 laps to go. Soon to be 22 laps to go. As Morbidelli and Mir once again go towards turn 14. Here comes Rins. And he is through. Rins is through on Zarco, but he did go slightly wide. Can Zarco get him back on the straight? Look at the horsepower of the Ducati on that satellite Ducati, and Zarco keeps 6th position from Alex Rins as Brad Binder. Oh, and Zarco's crashed! Zarco has crashed out of 6th position on the first corner, right in front of Alex Rins and Brad Binder. And Zarco will not be on the podium today. What a shame for the Frenchman. He was looking good in 6th place. And Zarco is surely now out of this race. What a shame for the Frenchman. As Alex Rins gains a position up to 6th, as does Joan Mir, who gains a position after 9th. He's just behind Alexius Espargaro on the Aprilia. And also, of course, Fabio Quartararo gains a position for the Sepang International Racing Yamaha team. On the Petronas Yamaha is now 15th. Quartararo now 15th, and he's now gaining a point as it stands. He needs to get past Cal Crutchlow, Pecco Bagnaia, Valentino Rossi, Maverick Vinales, and Andrea Dovizioso to catch up to Joan Mir, and to get past Joan Mir to have any chance of keeping his championship hopes alive. He needs Joan Mir to have a disastrous day today. But so far, it's been a disastrous day for Quartararo for going wide. But he is picking up the positions. On board with the championship leader, who has got Aleix Espargaro still in front of him, the man on the Aprilia. It's been a pretty decent ride for Aleix Espargaro in 8th position on the moment. And Joan Mir will want to gain positions, as Alex Rins, we just see, is closing in on Takaaki Nakagami in 5th place. Nakagami actually went wide then as well, so Rins is catching up. As for Joan Mir, he is actually the slowest man in the top 10 at the moment, so that isn't too great from Joan Mir, but it is all calm at the moment. He will be world champion as it stands. As it stands, Alex Rins will be 34 points behind Joan Mir in this championship. And obviously, if Rins wins in Portimao and Mir crashes out, he still cannot win. He still cannot win. He still cannot win the world championship because he'll be 2 behind. So yeah, as it stands, if we put the checkered flag out now, Alex Rins will be 34 points behind Joan Mir, 2nd in the championship, which means Joan Mir would be world champion going into Portimao. Maverick Vinales, as it stands, will be 43 points behind Joan Mir, and Franco Morbidelli will be 27 points behind Joan Mir. So Rins will go up to 2nd in the championship, ahead of Quartararo because of Quartararo going wide. And speaking of that, Alex Marquez has got past Fabio Quartararo. So what a shame for Fabio Quartararo, and a disastrous day so far for the French. So that's gonna plummet Quartararo further and further from becoming 2nd in this championship. And he could be overtaken by Morbidelli if he's not careful. But yeah, as it stands, Joan Mir would be the 2020 Motogp World Champion with 20 laps to go. Davide Brivio looks like he is absolutely bricking himself. Absolute nerves there from Davide Brivio, the manager of the Suzuki team, as he watches Alex Rins still trying to find a way past Nakagami. As we have a look at Mir having a look past Aleix Espargaro, still no way through and still cannot find a way past the Aprilia rider. As we have a look at Miguel Oliveira, currently 4th. This is a great race for Miguel Oliveira in 4th place. Ahead of Nakagami and then ahead of Rins. I think Rins is going to have Nakagami soon because Nakagami cannot keep up with Oliveira and Rins is keeping up with Nakagami. So I think Rins will move up to 5th place in this race. Quartararo is having a disaster right now. He's dropped back to 18th. There's something wrong with his bike. That is surely now the end of Fabio Quartararo's championship chances. So Joan Mir will win the World Championship as it stands because Alex Rins is on 34 points and will be too far behind going into Portimao. So yeah, disaster for Quartararo. Fantastic news for Mir and fantastic news for Suzuki at the moment. Quartararo's title chances are honestly fading away as Alex Rins still tries to find a way through on Takaaki Nakagami. Rins is desperate to get through here on Nakagami. Desperate. Absolutely desperate to get through. Oh, he's down! It's down! Quartararo's down! Quartararo's down! And that is it. That is it. That is the end of Quartararo's championship chances. He was top of the world in Jerez. And now he's rock bottom these last 2 races in Valencia. He went wide. He went wide on the first lap and he's crashed. That is his championship chances gone. He will want to come back stronger next year now for his team, for the factory Yamaha team, next year, because he will be moving to the factory Yamaha team. And that is devastating news for Fabio Quartararo. And that is an absolute disaster. He's had an absolute horrendous time here in both races at Valencia. And you know what's even worse? Quartararo is going to drop out of the top 4 of the World Championship. Morbidelli, Rins and Vinales will all go ahead of Quartararo in the World Championship. And I made a mistake. Alex Rins will not be second after this race. Franco Morbidelli will move up to second after this race. My apologies. Alex Rins will be 34 points behind Joan Mir. Morbidelli will be 27 points. I know I've said that before, but I've probably got carried away. But anyway, Morbidelli will move up to second in this World Championship if he wins the race today. But Joan Mir, as it stands, will be world champion. Alex Rins is still in 6th. And that will not be enough for him to beat Joan Mir in this World Championship. And if Morbidelli wins, like I said, he will be 27 points behind Joan Mir. And if Morbidelli wins here and in Portimao as well, and Joan Mir fails to Joan Mir fails to score a point in Portimao, even though it finishes now in 9th, then Mir will still be world champion. Nakagami has got past Oliveira. When I thought Oliveira was pulling away from Nakagami and Rins, Nakagami is up to 4th and has got past Miguel Oliveira, and Alex Rins will be staying with Nakagami and Miguel Oliveira, as we were on board with Maverick Vinales, who's 11th in this race at the moment. He will still be 4th in the championship as it stands, but he will not win the World Championship, that's for sure. Neither will Dovizioso. They are not strong enough at the moment. The only way now the championship can stay alive is if Joan Mir crashes out of this race. As Alex Rins goes through on Miguel Oliveira and up into 5th spot, he will not want Takaaki Nakagami to get away from him and catch up to the men and catch up to the top 3, because Nakagami is 2 seconds down on the man in 3rd, Paul Espargaro. And the front 3, Morbidelli, Mir and Paul Espargaro, are two seconds ahead of Nakagami in 4th. And they are pulling away. And Nakagami is trying to pull away from Rins to catch up with the front 3. On board with Mir in 9th. He's still behind Aleix Espargaro. He's got to find a way through on Aleix Espargaro to get through. And he's through. He's barged his way through on Aleix Espargaro. And Joan Mir is up to 8th. More points for Joan Mir, and that will put him on to 170 points. Davide Brivio cannot believe it. Quartararo is out of this race, and Joan Mir is 16 laps to go on the verge of being world champion. As we see Fabio Quartararo going back into the pits. Dovizioso tries to get past Aleix Espargaro as he's in 9th, and he cannot believe it. El Diablo, Quartararo, cannot believe it. His championship chances have gone. Top of the world at Jerez at the beginning of this season. But these last 2 races have been an absolute disaster for the Frenchman. Hopefully for him, he will be stronger next season on the factory Yamaha team. It's a shame because Quartararo could have won the world title with the Petronas Yamaha team. But that's not going to be now for 2020. Quartararo's championship chances are gone. They've disappeared into a cloud of dust. As we have a look at him again, he cannot believe it. He cannot believe it. The only way he can stay in this championship now is if Joan Mir crashes out or scores no points today. But that ain't going to happen as it stands with 15 laps to go. And Joan Mir will be the world champion. Because if Franco Morbidelli wins this race, and as Joan Mir is now up to 8th, obviously, Morbidelli will be 28 points behind Mir and will move up to second in the championship ahead of both Quartararo and Rins. And 28 points is too much because there's one more round after this, and that's Portimao in Portugal, and it's not enough for Morbidelli to win the title. So Joan Mir will be the champion as it stands, who is currently in 8th in this race. And I'm pretty sure, even though Joan Mir is safe in 8th place, he will, I'm sure, will want to catch up to Brad Binder, Miguel Oliveira, his teammate Alex Rins, and Takaaki Nakagami, all battling in that group of 4 battling for 4th place. The more points will be, the more better for Joan Mir, and I think that will want to be his aim today, even though he is safe at the moment in 8th place. Definitely not Mir's best result of the season, but this will give him World Championship status. As we have a look at the virtual fan wall once again, cheering on at the Adrian Campos corner, turn 14. 14 laps to go, speaking of which, and Franco Morbidelli still leads this race. And if he can do it today, he will move up to second in the championship. Joan Mir will be world champion, and in Portimao at the final round, in 7 days' time, will be a battle for second place and runner-up in this 2020 championship. And Suzuki will obviously want Alex Rins to do that, to complete a perfect season for the Suzuki team and for Davide Brivio. But it won't be easy because Morbidelli's there, Quartararo's there. He could still finish second in this World Championship despite that he's had 2 disastrous Valencia races. Vinales is there, Dovizioso is there, Alex Rins is there, like I said. It's going to be between one of those riders for second in the championship because Joan Mir is surely going to win this World Championship now. With Quartararo out of the race and Alex Rins in 5th. Franco Morbidelli leading and winning this race as it stands, but won't be enough to bring the fight to Joan Mir in Portimao because Joan Mir will be world champion. On board with Andrea Dovizioso, he is 10th so far. So 6 points for Desmo Dovi as it stands. Just in front of him is Aleix Espargaro and Joan Mir. Excuse me. Dovi will desperately want to get past Aleix Espargaro if he wants to gain more points for his championship chances, even though he is surely now, him and Vinales are surely not going to win the World Championship. Nakagami has just set a personal best lap of the race in 4th place, and now we have a look at his teammate Cal Crutchlow, just having a good old scrap with the 9-time world champion Valentino Rossi. And these two are battling for 13th, Crutchlow and Rossi. 2 positions they don't usually battle for, but they're still racing, they're still there. 2 huge experienced riders, 2 MotoGP veterans. Both of them, are race winners. One of them, though, is obviously the 9-time world champion and one of the greatest motorcycle riders of all time. Rossi and Crutchlow battling for 13th. And obviously, as it stands, this is Cal Crutchlow's penultimate race of his MotoGP career. He will be a test rider for Yamaha next season, and the thing is, it's been an exceptional career for Cal Crutchlow since he joined MotoGP in 2011. Here's the 2 Repsol Hondas, Alex Marquez and Stefan Bradl, battling for 16th in this race, although Alex Marquez has just gone wide into turn 1, allowing Stefan Bradl to go through at Dewan Corner, turn 2. we are back on board with the man from Japan, Nakagami, still 4th in this race, trying desperately to chase Pol Espargaro in 3rd. And Nakagami cannot catch up to Pol Espargaro in 3rd as his manager Lucio Cecchinello watches on. He's in a lonely 4th place, but he's trying his best to catch up to Pol Espargaro. In fact, he has slightly caught up Pol Espargaro, but he's still in 4th place. Can he battle with Espargaro, with Pol Espargaro and Jack Miller if he wants to finish 2nd, or at least catch up to Morbidelli and win this race? There is the virtual fan wall once again. On board with our race leader, Franco Morbidelli, the man from Italy and also Brazil, as it shows in his helmet. Going into Doohan Corner, turn 2, Jack Miller is still in 2nd place at the moment, as he is riding absolutely brilliantly. It's been a great race for Jack Miller so far, this Valencia race. He will obviously want to catch up to Morbidelli and win the race himself, but it's going to be a difficult task for Jack Miller if he wants to stay with Franco Morbidelli. As we have a look at Franco Morbidelli's pit board on what the situation is and the gap between Morbidelli and Jack Miller. It's 0.8 seconds between Morbidelli and Miller, and the Aussie will want to catch up if he wants to become MotoGP's 10th victor of 2020. We have had 9 victors already this season in what has been such an immaculate and incredible season in MotoGP. Fabio Quartararo won in Jerez, then Brad Binder won in Brno, Dovizioso in Austria, Oliveira also in Austria at the Styrian Grand Prix, Franco Morbidelli at Misano, Maverick Vinales at the Emiliano Romagna Rimini Grand Prix of Misano, Petrucci at the wet weather race at Le Mans, Alex Rins at Aragon, and then Joan Mir at Valencia last time out, as Dovizioso goes past Aleix Espargaro. Dovi is up to 9th. That's 7 points for Dovizioso, and he will want to chase Joan Mir if he wants to have any chance of scoring a haul of points to keep his slim title chances alive, even though it's very, very, very unlikely. Fastest man on the track, though, is Jack Miller, 1:31.378, and he is desperately trying his best to catch up with Franco Morbidelli, with 10 laps to go. Jack Miller goes through the Bernat Martinez corner, turn 8, as Nakagami is really closing in on Pol Espargaro now. Nakagami could be on the podium here today if he keeps closing in on the KTM rider and eventually overtake him as well. That's exactly what Nakagami will want to do. He really is closing in on him as well as we head towards the final corner of the circuit, turn 14. Nakagami is really reeling in Pol Espargaro, and he is on course to be on his first podium of this season. 9 laps to go. Morbidelli still leads from Miller in 2nd. Pol Espargaro is 3rd from Nakagami in 4th, who's really closing in on him. Nakagami really has pulled away from Alex Rins right now, who's in 5th place. Brad Binder is in 6th. He's got past Miguel Oliveira, as has Rins, of course. And Oliveira's down to 7th. And then there's it's just over a second of a gap between Miguel Oliveira in 7th and the championship leader, Joan Mir, in 8th. 9 laps to go, and Joan Mir is on the verge of becoming the 2020 MotoGP World Champion. But it ain't going to be easy for Mir. He needs to watch out for Dovizioso behind in 9th, because Dovizioso will not want to let Joan Mir get away from him. obviously Dovi and Mia both got past Aleix Espargaro in 10th, who's now in 10th. Vinales is still in 11th. Nakagami is still... He's really closing in. He's really closing in on Pol Espargaro. He's had so much grip there. Going into the last corner, and Nakagami's through, and he's gone wide. He's crashed. Oh, what a shame for the Japanese rider. Can you not believe it? Another podium chance has gone begging for Takaaki Nakagami. And Nakagami, he's pushed too hard to get past Pol Espargaro on the final corner of the circuit. And Nakagami is surely out of this race. What a shame for the Japanese rider. And he was on the verge. He had the pace. He was on the verge of getting his first podium. He nearly took Pol Espargaro out with him. Pol Espargaro, the KTM rider, is very lucky to avoid that. What a shame for Nakagami. He was on the verge of going on the podium and he's crashed out on the final corner. Lucio Cecchinello's team cannot believe it. They're absolutely gutted. And Nakagami was on the verge of being on the podium today. Doubly disappointing, real disappointment for the Japanese rider. And he will want to bounce back and do well once again in the final race of the season at Portimao. What a shame for Nakagami. He was doing everything he can. And yeah, once again, we haven't got a podium yet this season from Takaaki Nakagami. He is out of this race. Jack Miller, I think, is still the fastest man on the track. Can Jack Miller become the 10th winner of 2020? He is closing in on Franco Morbidelli. He's really closing in. They're both about to have 7 laps to go. Morbidelli still leads this race, but Jack Miller really is closing in on... He is really closing in. It's 0.6 of a second now between Morbidelli and Jack Miller. It's honestly so close between the two. 7 laps to go between these two riders. And Miller will be looking for his first victory of the season, the 10th different MotoGP winner of 2020. Takaaki Nakagami would have surely joined these two for the battle for the race victory. But Nakagami is out of this race for pushing too hard, had so much grip. He was looking so good as well. He was having such a great race and got past Pol Espargaro, but obviously pushed too hard on the final corner and crashed out and nearly took the KTM rider with him. As it stands, Joan Mir is on 171 points. Obviously, because of Nakagami's crash now, that's another point for Joan Mir. Joan Mir is going to score 9 points today, 7th place in this race, and because it will be a 29-point gap between Morbidelli in 2nd and Joan Mir 1st in the championship as it stands. Joan Mir will be the 2020 world champion. And obviously, it was another gained position for the Suzuki rider after seeing Takaaki Nakagami crash out of 3rd. Well, 4th, but went into 3rd and then crashed out. On board with the championship leader with 6 laps to go as the Suzuki pit crew look on. This is the biggest day of Joan Mir's life. 7th in this race, but 7th is enough for him to be world champion. As MotoGP will go into Portimao after today for the final round of the season. Meanwhile, for Mir's teammate Alex Rins, the KTM rider of Brad Binder, the teammate of Pol Espargaro, of course, at KTM, the South African rider is closing in on Alex Rins, so that could really deal a bit of a blow for Alex Rins' title chances. But 4th place for Rins and 7th place for Mir isn't enough for Alex Rins to stay in the title hunt. Up the hill we go, through turns 12 and 13. It's going to surely be one of these two riders, Miller and Morbidelli, who who is going to win this race. Miller had such huge, brilliant drive there going into turn 14. And Miller is getting closer and closer to our race leader with 5 laps to go now. And Franco Morbidelli still leads this race. But Jack Miller, the Australian, has brought it closer and closer to the number 21 Petronas Yamaha rider, the Italian. The championship is going Mia's way as it stands, but the race victory is going to be between Jack Miller and Franco Morbidelli. Who is going to win it? I think we're going to have an epic battle these last 5 laps now between Morbidelli and Jack Miller. This has been Jack Miller's best race for a long, long time. I think those few run-of crashes really dented Miller being in the title hunt this season. But this has been a great race for a man who I had as one of the title favourites for this season. And Jack Miller is second in this race at the moment. He's tried everything he can to close in on Franco Morbidelli. And Jack Miller, well, he's got a point to prove and shows that he is a true race winner despite his crashes if he wants to win this race. And he has been a race winner before. Remember his first one at Assen 2016? Superb ride on that Mark VDS Honda. But now he's on the Pramac Danti Ducati, obviously moving to the factory Ducati team next year. 4 laps to go. It's still between Miller and Morbidelli for this race. Here's our championship leader, Joan Mir, 7th still in this race. And he's actually 0.7 tenths of a second behind Miguel Oliveira. So he's actually kind of closing in on the group that are battling for 3rd place. But we don't know yet. Anything can happen. Paul Espargaro is still 3rd in this race. Alex Rins is 4th. Brad Binder is 5th. Miguel Oliveira still 6th. Joan Mir is still 7th. Morbidelli is still leading this race, as both Morbidelli and Mir both go through the chicane at turns 9 and 10 and going into 11. Now onto the straight, going into Champi Herrero's turn 12, as they both go up the hill into turn 13 up here. No change between Morbidelli and Mir here, the front two. And now down into turn 14, the final corner of the circuit, the Adrian Campos corner. 3 laps to go between the Italian and the Australian. One on a Yamaha, on a satellite Yamaha, and the other on a satellite Ducati. Who is going to win it? It's Franco Morbidelli versus Jack Miller. It's Yamaha versus Ducati. Petronas Yamaha versus Pramac Danti Ducati. But all eyes, though, despite the all eyes at the moment being on the front runners, all eyes will be on this man here, the Suzuki rider, 7th in this championship, Joan Mir. And he is closing right in on Miguel Oliveira, so he could finish 6th yet, Joan Mir. But this will be enough for Joan Mir to be the 2020 Motogp World Champion. He is so close now to winning this World Championship, and it has been such a long, long time since Suzuki last won the Motogp World Championship with Kenny Roberts Jr. in 2000. As Davide Brivio has a look. I think my phone went off then. My apologies. So sorry if you do hear that. But anyway, Morbidelli still leads this race from Jack Miller in 2nd. There's going to be 2 laps to go in a minute of this Valencia race. 2 laps to go between Morbidelli and Morbidelli and Miller. Sorry. 2 laps to go, as I said. Joan Mir is still in 7th place. He is riding very smoothly in 7th, and that will be the World Championship for Joan Mir. He'll be a one-time world champion. He'll be his first world championship in the Premier class. Obviously, it's not his first world championship, obviously, because obviously he did win the 2017 Moto3 World Championship. So this will be Joan Mir's second MotoGP title. Obviously, this will be his first Premier Class title, so he'll be level with the likes of Nicky Hayden and Kenny Roberts Jr., like I say, for being a single world champion in the Premier Class. But he will be on 2 world championships after today as it stands. Level with the legendary... He'll be level with the legendary Casey Stoner, because Stoner's 2 titles came in the Premier Class. 2007 with Ducati and 2011 with Repsol Honda. So Joan Mir will be on 2 world titles, level with the Australian of Casey Stoner. But yeah, that will be a huge statistic for Mir, as we now go on to the last lap, and Miller's through on Morbidelli, but he's ran wide. Morbidelli's going to have a look into turn 2, and Morbidelli's gone back through on turn 2. What a drive that was from Jack Miller on the straight there on the final lap, but Miller is not giving this up at all. Miller's gone through. Miller's through at Nico Tirol corner on Franco Morbidelli. And Morbidelli bites straight back. What a race we have here from the front 2 here on the last lap. That was great racing between the Italian and the Australian. And Morbidelli retakes the lead from Jack Miller. Miller is trying everything he can. As we have a look at Joan Mir, who is about to be world champion, Miller is doing everything he can to get past Franco Morbidelli as they go through turn 8. Can he be close enough to pinch the inside line on Franco Morbidelli? He still can't find a way through, but he's still there. He's having a look. He was having a look, but he went too wide. Morbidelli still holds on to the lead. Now, going into past turn 11, going into Champi Herreros in turn 12. Morbidelli still leads, but Miller, will be having a look at for his Ducati's drive, as we have a look at Joan Mir once again. Miller is doing everything he can to get past Morbidelli, but I don't think he's going to do it. He hasn't got through on the last corner. Morbidelli is going to do it. I think Morbidelli's going to win. Can Miller do it? No, he can't. Morbidelli wins in Valencia. Jack Miller will be second. Paul Espargaro will be third. And Joan Mir is the 2020 MotoGP World Champion. What a race for the Suzuki rider. And it's Suzuki's first World Championship since Kenny Roberts Jr. in 2000. And there is your MotoGP World Champion of 2020. It's the number 36 Spaniard from the man from Palma de Mallorca, Joan Mir. He has done it. A fantastic season for Joan Mir. Fantastic season for Suzuki. He can't believe it. He gets a shake of the hands from Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales and the 9-time world champion Valentino Rossi, Andrea Dovizioso, Cal Crutchlow and Jack Miller. Morbidelli cannot believe he has won once again. It is Morbidelli's 3rd victory of 2020, and Franco Morbidelli will move up to 2nd in the World Championship. And that is surely Franco Morbidelli's best race of his life there. He fought Jack Miller right to the death there at the end. But Joan Mir is the main man today. He is the world champion. Lorenzo Savadori and Tito Rabat both give him the congratulations. And Thomas Comas, Joan Mir's personal assistant, comes to congratulate him. Just absolute jubilation from Joan Mir. Tito Rabat congratulates him. But what a day it has been for the Spaniard. 7th place was enough for Joan Mir to win the World Championship. And he has done it in absolute style. It shows, despite his 2 retirements at the start of the season in Brno and in Jerez, he has shown that consistency wins titles. But again, 2020, what a season we have honestly had. It has been up and down for every single rider this season, especially for Marc Marquez when he suffered that heavy crash at Jerez, and that ruled him out of the title race straight away. And Joan Mir is the first rider in MotoGP history to win the Moto3 World Championship and the MotoGP World Championship, because of course he was Moto3 champion in 2017. That is his first MotoGP World Championship, in the Premier Class World Championship, his second MotoGP World Championship, ranging from all classes, level with Casey Stoner of all people. Just shows how much of a fantastic season it has been for Joan Mir and the Suzuki team as the fireworks show and start to go out here in Valencia. Suzuki's first world champion since Kenny Roberts Jr. in 2000. Before that, it was Kevin Schwantz in 1993. What an amazing season for the Suzuki team. And just been just a fantastic season for the team and the riders. Alex Rins did finish fourth this race, but he will lose second in this championship standings to our race winner Franco Morbidelli, who moves up to second. Morbidelli's up to second this World Championship now on 142 points. Alex Rins will be on 138. Viñales will be on 127, and then Quartararo and Dovizioso joint on 125. Don't rule out Pol Espargaro. He's 7th in the championship, but he's only 3 points behind both Quartararo and Dovizioso. 7th in the World Championship on the KTM. And even though it'll be harder for him, Pol Espargaro could still finish second in this World Championship. But Frank, that would only happen if Morbidelli and Rins both had disastrous races in Portimao in the last round of the season. Jack Miller, an incredible second place for him. He's 8th in the World Championship now as it stands. He's ahead of Nakagami. He's on 112 points. He's 10 points down on Pol Espargaro, who's 7th. But that will not be enough for Jack Miller to go in the battle for second for the World Championship. But it was still a great race for Jack Miller. Today here in Valencia. But look at that. What an incredible season for Suzuki and Joan Mir. Absolutely superb. Once again, a Spaniard has won the MotoGP World Championship. The last time we didn't have a Spanish rider win a World Championship was, of course, Casey Stoner in 2011. But Joan Mir is the first man to win the World Championship other than Marc Marquez. The last time someone won the World Championship other than Marc Marquez was Jorge Lorenzo, of course, in 2015 on the Yamaha. What a day, though, it has been for Suzuki. What a day for Joan Mir. And it has also been Suzuki's 100th anniversary. Here are your champions with Suzuki. Barry Sheene, Marco Lucinelli, Franco Uncini, Kevin Schwantz, Kenny Roberts Jr. and now Joan Mir. Absolutely staggering. 20 years later from the last time Suzuki won the MotoGP World Championship. And Joan Mir becomes Suzuki's 6th MotoGP World Champion after Barry Sheene, Marco Lucinelli, Franco Uncini, Kevin Schwantz and Kenny Roberts Jr. The virtual fan wall are there at turn 14 congratulating Joan Mir, especially the Suzuki fans, absolutely delighted with the outcome. And Suzuki are really going to go for the Triple Crown now in Portimao. Suzuki have won the Riders' Championship. Can they go for the Teams and Constructors' Championship as well? Absolutely jubilant, superb scenes there from the number 36 rider. Just absolutely superb. 7 days ago, this man took his first victory in the Premier Class once Alex Rins went wide on a dominant weekend for Suzuki. This weekend has been a lot more challenging and difficult for the team and Davide Brivio, but Joan Mir has kept his consistency after Fabio Quartararo's nightmare race once again, and he has won the World Championship. Your 2020 MotoGP World Champion. There's going to be parties. There's going to be parties, celebrations, and everything with the Suzuki team tonight. They will not care one shot, even if COVID-19 is happening. But they truly deserve to celebrate. It has been 20 long years since Suzuki last won the world title. Absolutely superb from the team and the riders. Alex Rins could still finish second in this World Championship, which would make everything even better for the Suzuki team. But it ain't going to be easy because it's between 6 riders. It's between 6 riders going into the last round in the Algarve in Portugal at Portimao to battle for second in the World Championship. Morbidelli, Rins, Viñales, Quartararo, Dovizioso and Pol Espargaro. No one, though, can now catch this man, Joan Mir. He is the 2020 MotoGP World Champion. And he is celebrating massively in Parc Fermé as he goes to congratulate his family and friends who are all in tears for him winning the World Championship. Absolute jubilant, amazing scenes we see here in MotoGP at the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia. Just amazing. There is Franco Uncini. Just went to congratulate Joan Mir. Franco Uncini, a huge figure for the Suzuki manufacturer. He was, of course, Suzuki World Champion in 1982, MotoGP World Champion in 1982, the year after Marco Lucinelli won it in 1981. But Mir becomes Suzuki's 6th MotoGP World Champion, and no one can now catch him. Absolutely superb scenes. And he's on the podium. No, he's still at Parc Fermé celebrating. There is Marc Marquez on Twitter congratulating Joan Mir for the world champion, Mir being the world champion. Marc Marquez is now the former world champion, and next year he will be back with Repsol Honda and will want to bounce back and challenge Joan Mir for the 2021 MotoGP World Championship. So now, Joan Mir is the reigning world champion going into next season. And Marc Marquez, just like Rossi, just like Lorenzo, who obviously has retired though, Marc Marquez will now be the former world champion. We're now going to hear with Pol Espargaro. Another brilliant podium for Pol Espargaro. Another cracking ride. Yes, he hasn't had a victory this season or come second, but he has had now 5 third-place finishes this season, and it's been a great, great day for Pol Espargaro. And that puts Pol Espargaro 7th in the rider standings in this World Championship. It also puts the Red Bull KTM team 3rd in the team's championship. 3rd in the team's championship. Absolutely superb. But yeah, Joan Mir is, of course, the 6th man to win the World Championship for Suzuki. Barry Sheene did it twice in 1976, 1977 as well. One of Britain's most successful riders of all time. Marco Lucinelli in 1981, Uncini in 1982, Schwantz in 93, Roberts Jr. in 2000, and now Mir in 2020. We're now going to We're now going to hear from Jack Miller. Brilliant race for the Aussie in second. Such a classy character, Jack Miller is. A great ride for the Australian. He nearly had it. He nearly had Franco Morbidelli right at the end. He gave Morbidelli a total run for his money on that last lap. But the Italian managed to hold on. Was very close for the Australian. But that is a great second place for the Pramac Dantine Ducati rider. And now we've got our race winner, Franco Morbidelli, for the Petronas Yamaha team. Great race for Franco Morbidelli. Absolutely superb. It was a sensational last lap between Morbidelli and Jack Miller. Jack Miller made his move into turn 1, but ran a bit deep, which allowed Morbidelli to go through. Then Miller had Morbidelli right at turn 4. He did actually hold on to it then, but Morbidelli fought straight back going into turn 5, and it was a great move from the Italian. It was such a clean move as well. Miller was so close to getting it for Ducati, for the Pramac Dantine Ducati team, but Morbidelli held on as his side of the Petronas Yamaha garage, celebrate in style, whereas his teammate is probably in absolute despair right now. Meanwhile, here is our world champion, Joan Mir. Sincere congratulations for Joan Mir. Sincere congratulations for the number 36 rider. That is the way he crossed the line. Straight away, he was thinking that he knew he was world champion. He just beat Andrea Dovizioso to the line and then knew he was world champion. Jorge Lorenzo congratulates Joan Mir. As a Spanish and a Majorcan, I'm very proud of Joan Mir. Jorge Lorenzo is also, of course, from Majorca. And Lorenzo gives his... Spanish legend Lorenzo gives his full congratulations on Twitter to Joan Mir. As look at the scenes from the Suzuki team as they cheer on. They cannot believe it. And between 2008 and 2019, the championship has been between Yamaha or Repsol Honda. But now Suzuki are back. They are back as a force to be reckoned with. It ain't the end yet, though, for Suzuki. They may have won the Riders' Championship with Joan Mir. Joan Mir is the 2020 MotoGP World Champion, but they can still win. They still need to win the Constructors' and Teams' Championship to put it all to bed. So they all need a great race in Portimao. Suzuki are level on 201 points with Ducati in the Constructors' standings. Yamaha are on 188 points in the Constructors' Championships. They were on 238, but were deducted 50 points after failing to respect MSMA technical changes protocols. And if it wasn't for that, then Yamaha would have surely won the Constructors' Championship by now. Yamaha would have won the championship right now in the Constructors, but because of that deduction, they haven't. They can still win the Constructors' Championship, but they need all Suzukis and all Ducatis to have a bad day at Portimao. KTM are a bit too far behind, because if KTM do better than all three, Suzuki, Ducati and Yamaha, they will finish on 200 points, but it won't be enough to beat Suzuki or Ducati. So KTM, Honda and Aprilia are all out of the equation for this Constructors' Championship. It is between Suzuki, Ducati and Yamaha. And as if we look at the podium, Paul Espargaro, Jack Miller and Franco Morbidelli all step up to the podium. It is Andy Griffiths, the data engineer for Petronas Yamaha, who has joined Franco Morbidelli on the podium. Here is Paul Espargaro being congratulated his third place podium. He is 7th in the World Championship after that third place finish. Second, and the silver trophy for Jack Miller. Great ride for the Australian. That puts Jack Miller 8th in the championship. Not enough to be in the battle for second in the championship. But this man is second in the championship after winning today. Franco Morbidelli wins in Valencia, and we're about to hear the Italian national anthem. Franco Morbidelli is the 2020 Valencian Grand Prix winner. He wins with Jack Miller second and third being Paul Espargaro, as the boys now get the champagne out and spray it on each other, especially on the Petronas Yamaha race engineer. Morbidelli goes to congratulate Andy Griffiths, and it's been surely one of Morbidelli's best ever races. Miller pushed Morbidelli all the way, but Franco simply didn't make a mistake. That reminds me of Valencia itself in 2005. That was won by former Italian and compatriot of Franco Morbidelli and good friend of Valentino Rossi, Marco Melandri, when the late American Nicky Hayden pushed him all the way, but Melandri didn't make a mistake one bit. Just the same today with Miller pushing Morbidelli to the absolute limit. The only difference being to the 2005 race was that Miller did pull a few manoeuvres, but Morbidelli fought back and won the race brilliantly. So yeah. We are finished now for the doubleheader in Valencia, and in 7 days' time, on the 22nd of November, we head to the last round and final round of the season. Portimao in the Algarve in southern Portugal. The final round of the 2020 Motogp World Championship. And then we've got the long winter break ahead of us going into 2021, where we start again in March. Kevin Schwantz, the legend for Suzuki, has congratulated Joan Mir for the World Championship, the 1993 American World Champion who spent his championship years battling with the likes of Wayne Rainey in 1993 and around the early 1990s, late 1980s for that World Championship. And he gives huge congratulations to Joan Mir, and because of Joan Mir's title, Suzuki are surely now the team to beat. But like I said, it still ain't over yet. Suzuki still need to win the Constructors and Teams Championships, but after Joan Mir has now showed that he is a world champion, Suzuki are really now a force to be reckoned with for the future. Can Repsol Honda get their title back from Suzuki with Marc Marquez or Paul Espargaro? Can Yamaha win the World Championship back? Can Ducati win the World Championship back? It's been since 2007 with Casey Stoner when Ducati got their World Championship. They were agonisingly close in 2017 with Andrea Dovizioso, but obviously that went to Marc Marquez. But here is your 2020 MotoGP World Champion, Joan Mir, who goes onto the podium and is about to celebrate. And the Suzuki team will be partying hard tonight. And they thoroughly, thoroughly deserve it after 20 long years of no championships one bit. They've had no championships since 2000, and Suzuki are back. As they already are starting to party from Parc Ferme. And Joan Mir cannot believe it. His mum celebrates as well. She's right there celebrating for her son. Absolutely brilliant scenes for the whole team and the whole of Joan Mir's family and Joan Mir himself. Amazing, amazing job from the whole team. And there is Davide Brivio. He comes to join Joan Mir on the podium. Joan Mir celebrates, sprays the champagne on him, and they are now a force to be reckoned with. Absolutely superb. His first podium of the year, of course, was at Austria in seconds. He's had 2 crashes this season, right at the beginning of this season, and the first race at Jerez and round 3 at Brno. He finished 5th at the Andalusian race at Jerez, 2nd in Austria, round 4, and he's been consistent ever since. His only terrible race was at his only disappointing race was at Le Mans, where he finished in 11th. But Joan Mir has proved to the world he is Mr. Consistent. Here is the highlights of his championship year. The continued celebrations carry on. Absolutely fantastic as the team members get thrown into the air by the rest of the team. Absolutely superb scenes we see here between for the Suzuki team, as the virtual fan will celebrate as well. Everybody sending their best wishes and regards to Joan Mir on a day that he will absolutely never forget. This is now Joan Mir's best day of his life, without a doubt. And this was, and he's still very young. He was born in 1997. He's got a long future ahead, and can he retain it in 2021? But watch out for Marc Marquez. He will be back. Anyway, here are the final results. Morbidelli wins, Miller 2nd, Pol Espargaro 3rd, Alex Rins 4th, Binder 5th, Oliveira 6th, Joan Mir 7th, 8th is Dovizioso, 9th is Aleix Espargaro, Viñales 10th ahead of Bagnaia, Rossi, Crutchlow, Bradle, Petrucci, Alex Marquez. Tito Rabat was 17th place, with Savadori 18th, and Takaaki Nakagami, Fabio Quartararo and Johan Zarco all failing to finish the race. All 3 riders, the Frenchman's and the Japanese rider, all crashing out. So there you have it. The championship is over. Mir has won it. He's on 171 points. So now it's a battle for 2nd in the World Championship. Franco Morbidelli, 142. Alex Rins, 138. Viñales, 127. Quartararo and Dovi on 125 each. Then it's Pol Espargaro on 122, Jack Miller 112, Nakagami 105, Oliveira 100, Brad Binder is 11th on 87, Danilo Petrucci is 12th on 78, Johan Zarco 13th on 71, Alex Marquez is 14th on 67, ahead of Valentino Rossi, who's 15th on 62, Bagnaia is 16th on 47, Aleix Espargaro is 17th on 34, ahead of Cal Crutchlow on 29, Ika Lekuuna on 27, Stefan Bradl on 18, Bradley Smith on 12, Tito Rabat on 10, Michele Pirro on 4, and Lorenzo Savadori, Marc Marquez and Garrett Gerloff, who haven't scored a single point. Garrett Gerloff, of course, was the Yamaha rider from last week, the American that was meant to replace Valentino Rossi, but did not happen as he withdrew from the event. For the Independent Riders' Championship, Morbidelli leads the championship on 142. And for the Teams' Championship, so it's not over yet. Suzuki on 309. Petronas Yamaha 230. They can still win this World Championship for the teams. And then Red Bull KTM are on 209. I don't think they're going to do it. The Teams' Championship will be between Suzuki and Petronas Yamaha. KTM is 3rd. Ducati 4th. Monster Yamaha are in 5th. Pramac Dancing Ducati 6th, ahead of LCR Honda, Red Bull KTM Tech 3, Repsol Honda, the Esponsorama Ducati team, and the Aprilia Racing Team Gresini dead last on 46 points. As for the Independent Teams Championship, that is won already by the Petronas Yamaha team, but they will want to go for the main Teams Championship. That is for sure. For the constructors, Suzuki and Ducati level on 201, Yamaha on 188. It's between those three manufacturers to win the constructors' title. KTM are on 175. If they win the constructors' title, they will be on 200, but that won't be enough to beat Suzuki or Ducati. So KTM, Honda and Aprilia are all out of it. Honda on 133, Aprilia on 43. It's between Suzuki, Ducati and Yamaha for the constructors' title. So here's the race highlights. Miller got a great start. He was initially ahead of Franco Morbidelli on the start-finish straight, but he went too wide as we were on board with Fabio Quartararo, who didn't have the best of starts. And his dream grew over pretty quickly. He went too fast to try and go past the outside of Maverick Vinales, and then went wide and went dead last. So, Morbidelli led from Jack Miller second, Pol Espargaro third as Nakagami went wide. Mir at the early stages was in mid-table. As we see Mir barge his way through on Maverick Vinales as Morbidelli was still leading this race. Morbidelli still red. Alex Rins, meanwhile, was ahead of Mir, who made a great start, but Jan Zarco, just in front of him, crashed in turn 1. And then, ultimately, Zarco's compatriot, Fabio Quartararo, did exactly the same. He went through on a few riders and then crashed out, and his championship chances disappeared into a cloud of dust. Nakagami went through on Miguel Oliveira to go back up to 4th after Oliveira initially went past him, but then Oliveira then lost out to the number 42 Bakery, Alex Rins, while his teammate Jean Mir and our new world champion went through on Aleix Espargaro, and that's got him into the top 8. Nakagami was charging. He was catching up on Pol Espargaro and was on the verge of going towards the podium places. Got through on Pol Espargaro, but crashed. And then we had the last lap epic drama between Franco Morbidelli and Jack Miller. Jack Miller had him on the straight, Morbidelli taking the inside line at turn 2, and then Miller fought straight back into turn 4, but Morbidelli held on to take his 3rd victory of the season. But the main man of today was Jean Mir. He is the 2020 Motogp World Champion. The 23-year-old from Mallorca becomes Suzuki's World Champion since Kenny Roberts Jr. in 2000. Mir has done it, and Suzuki's first for 20 years. So now it's a battle for seconds going into the last round of the season, 7 days away in the south of Portugal. So that's it for today. Jean Mir is our new world champion and the man to beat in 2021. Marc Marquez is now, of course, the former MotoGP world champion. And we will see you in 7 days' time on the 22nd of November for the last round of an epic 2020 season at Portimao in Portugal. See you there. Cheerio.